No more time for games. Transfer deadline day is coming upon us on Friday, 11 p.m. All the transfer talk is done and dusted. If Palace are going to be doing business, they have to be doing it this week and quickly. First of all, we're going to be talking about Dean Henderson, who has, according to reports, completed his medical and what that could mean for Sam Johnson. Also, an update on Cheikh Doucouré. Iheanacho is wanted by Premier League rivals. Could that hurt us waiting the long game with Iheanacho and more? Let's get started with Palace news. What is going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. It's me, D, here to talk all the latest with Palace. It feels like it's been ages since we've actually sat down to talk about transfer news, but here we are, and it's time for real business. None of this, oh, next week, we should be doing this by next week. Oh, we need this player and that player. It needs to be done sooner rather than later. We've only got till Friday, people. Friday, 11 p.m. And that's it. Done and dusted. Palace will be continuing up until January with the players that they've got. Now, we've got a few positions. Roy Hodgson has actually spoke about it as well, talking about, you know, the need for players. He spoke about a particular number. We'll be discussing that. As I said, striker is on the agenda. One of the strikers that we've been linked with is now being linked with a move to a Premier League rival. So there's that on the agenda as well today. Look, there's a few things, but as always, we are closing in on 4,000 subscribers. So if you do enjoy the content, let's get over 100 likes, which we always do, and also subscribe. Let's hit the 4K goal and send in your comments throughout the show to get involved. Look, as you guys can see from the title, we're going to start off with Dean Henderson because that is the main talking point in terms of incomings. It seems like that is going to be the next one, and there's interesting details about it. Now, there's been talks about whether it's going to be loan or permanent. Even I've been asking the same question because from reports that we've been hearing, one person saying loan, other person saying permanent, and, you know, loan with an option to buy, loan with obligations to buy. But according to latest reports coming from Sky Sports, Dean Henderson has completed his medical, people. So sooner rather than later, I assume by tomorrow, we're going to be hearing about Dean Henderson coming to Palace officially announced. Now, I've got two things that I want to talk about. But before we actually speak about the main talking points with Dean Henderson coming, the latest reports are suggesting that it's going to be a permanent deal. So it's not going to be a loan. We'll see what happens tomorrow when it's announced. Hopefully tomorrow, knowing with Palace, will probably announced on Friday. But if it's announced tomorrow, we'll find out. But apparently it's going to be a permanent deal, £15 million plus £5 million in add-ons, equaling to £20 million on Dean Henderson, which I know a lot of people have been talking about it. Should we spend £20 million on a second choice goalkeeper? Is it going to be second choice? There's also that. But look, let me know what you guys think about the deal, 15 plus £5 million in add-ons for Dean Henderson. And what does this mean for Sam Johnson? So there's two ways of looking about it. Look, a lot of people have been frustrated with us spending that kind of money on Dean Henderson. And I've been one of them as well, because for me, the priority should be a goalkeeper and a winger. And £20 million for a club, which we've been hearing all summer. And here we are. We still haven't got a striker. Or, you know, I mean, we brought in Francois as a forward option, but we don't know if he's going to be playing left wing or as a number 10. We still need a winger, another winger at least, and a striker. Now, when we have them gaps in the squad and we're spending £20 million on a backup goalkeeper, now this is going to be interesting. Is he going to be backup? Because I don't think so. I don't think you sign Dean Henderson for £20 million near enough and use him as a backup goalkeeper. I think there is something behind the scenes. I think Dougie might rate Dean Henderson more than Sam Johnson, which is going to be interesting to see how Roy reacts to that as well. But for me, I have no problem with us spending £20 million on Dean Henderson if we do go and get the striker and the winger. Now, we still got time. But as I said at the start of the show, as I'll be saying throughout the show, we haven't got enough time left. We've got a few positions that we need to solve. We need to make sure we bring in a striker that has quality, as well as, you know, it helps us with depth options. But we can't just bring in a striker for striker's sake or winger for winger's sake. So for me, I think where people are getting frustrated is the fact that we still have more priority in terms of what we need to improve in the squad, and we're spending that much on a goalkeeper. Now, about Dean Henderson himself, I have no problems. I think he, you know, fits our profile. He's still fairly young. He's younger than Sam Johnson. I believe he's like 26 years old, might be 27 this year. So in terms of goalkeeper age, you can get probably 9 years out of him, 10 years. But one thing that I do know is that Dean Henderson, I just don't see Dean Henderson coming to Palace after being second option at Man United and wanting to be second option. Now, what does this mean for Sam Johnson? Because Sam Johnson was literally just made number one recently. Now, you can make that debate. Maybe Dean Henderson is better than Sam Johnson, and that's why he's going to have number one. He's going to be number one option, even though he won't have the number one kit. But then I just don't see how this works out without Sam Johnson leaving the club at the end of it. I just don't see Sam Johnson saying, all right, I'm going to be number two. And I just don't see Dean Henderson saying, I'm going to be number two. Now, with other positions, it's different. With other positions, when you have a right back or when you have a left back, it's different when you have depth sake because, you can still rotate around it. With goalkeepers, you normally have a number one. You don't rotate goalkeeper game by game. And I think it adds a bit of pressure to Sam Johnson if he's going to remain number one, because now he knows that if he has a mistake, Dean Henderson is there. And rightly so, Dean Henderson will be knocking on the door. Now, from what we've been hearing is that Dean Henderson and Sam Johnson, they get along well. But I'll be honest, I just don't think this is a case of Henderson coming to Palace because he's friends with Johnson. Henderson's going to come to Palace because he's going to want to play. Now, what does this mean for the future of our goalkeepers? Does it mean that maybe not now, but in January or next summer, we have to go get another goalkeeper? Potentially, if we don't promote academy players? Because I'll be honest, I don't have anything wrong with Dean Henderson coming to the club, but I think it raises a lot of questions in terms of what happens going forward. Because I just don't see either of them be number two people. But let me know as well in the comment section as well. Tanta saying he's a great player, but it's like building a second kitchen when you don't have a roof or plumbing in your house. Literally, it's like trying to drive a car with flat tires. Like, it's annoying. I mean, you brought in one tire, but you still need 3 other tires that you need to solve. Bringing a goalkeeper right now, we do need it because it seems like Vicente is going to go, which I want it to happen literally before. It has to happen before Friday. There's no way he should be staying at the club after all them fuss has been causing behind the scenes. But yeah, like, with the goalkeeper situation, it is debatable. I think there is a right debate there. I think some people are leaning on the side that it's an improvement to the squad, so that's why we have to do it. But others are saying, what does this mean for the overall aspect of a goalkeeping situation? Number one, number two. I mean, I just don't see either one of them trying to be number two. Colin says Henderson will be the future England number one with regular games with us. There's no reason we can't have two decent goalkeepers. But then, Colin, realistically, do you see Sam Johnson wanting to be number two? I just don't see that happening. After we gave him the number one kit number, like, why would Sam Johnson say, all right, you know what, I'm just going to be number two to Dean Henderson? I just don't see it happen because Sam Johnson, he's in the England squad as well. He's in the England squad after playing. Now, if he doesn't play for Palace, I don't know what Gareth Southgate could be thinking, but there's also a possibility that he might not be in the England squad. So yeah, look, I hear where you're coming from in terms of an ideal scenario, but realistically with goalkeepers, I just don't see two decent goalkeepers. What other clubs have done it? Even look at the clubs that have won trophies, like the likes of Manchester United. They always had a number one. And then the number two was clear. Like with Arsenal, they're doing it now as well. So we're going to see with Palace and Arsenal. Arsenal doing it with Raya, and they're doing it with, Aaron Ramsdale, two quality goalkeepers, two number one goalkeepers. We'll see how it works out in there. But you don't often see two number ones. If I'm wrong, then let me know. But where do you see two number ones being at the same football club? It just doesn't really normally work like that. Bollock says Henderson has to earn it. I agree. He does need to earn it. Adam says we will spend £20 million on a second goalkeeper, but have only spent that much or more only once in a history on a striker, which is crazy. Yes, we'll be talking about striker as well. Don't worry, we're going to be moving on to that in just a second. And 100%, hit the likes up, people. I know we can get over 100 likes. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure to hit it. Helps our algorithm massively. Palace fans says we should be looking at Gift Orban. He's a striker that scored a ton of goals in Belgium with Ghent. Yeah, but he's not been on the radar of Palace. So unless something happens last minute, then don't really see anything like that happening. Mitch says, I think two number ones can only work for big clubs with European games to put one on. Yeah, look, that's what I'm saying. With Arsenal, they got Raya, they got Ramsdale, but then they could rotate between two massive competitions, Champions League and the Premier League. One goalkeeper could end up playing in the Premier League, one could be playing in Champions League, and they could get away with that. Well, Palace, I don't think Henderson or Johnson, especially after you give number one to Johnson, I think that's where the bigger problem lies. You just don't give number one to a goalkeeper, bring in a goalkeeper for £20 million and potentially drop Johnson to the bench. I just don't see how he's going to react to that in a positive way. If I was him, I wouldn't react to it in a positive way. I would like to be number one if I'm giving the number one kit. And literally, Johnson has been waiting for his opportunity as well. Vicente was number one, and Johnson didn't cause a fuss. He waited for his opportunity. Now he got it. Now I know Vicente's leaving and we have to bring in another goalkeeper, but we could have approached this differently. Now, Henderson could be a better goalkeeper than Sam Johnson, which works out there, and then maybe we move on Sam Johnson. But then again, if you do move him on, then you have to look for another goalie. So you just end up in the same position as you was before. Whitworth needs a loan. Yeah, so yeah, even Whitworth is one for the future. Colin says maybe one of them be used for the league. Other one will be cup priorities. But Colin, I just don't see... hopefully I'm wrong, but I just don't see one of them saying, I'm fine, we're playing in the Carabao Cup and playing in the FA Cup in January. I just don't see a realistic situation. Why would Henderson come to Palace after being a number 2 at Man United? He's coming to Palace. Even reports suggested it from TalkSport that he's coming to Palace thinking that he's going to be number 1. Like, that's the mentality, and it makes sense. Otherwise, he would stay at Man United. Why would he not stay at United and come to Palace if you want to be number 2? He's coming here to be number 1. Now, it's going to be very good competition, but does that mean added pressure to the likes of Johnston, where Johnston now can't really make a mistake? Whereas, with a winger can have a misplaced cross. He's not going to get dropped to the bench. But with more time with goalkeepers, if you have a mistake, it could lead up to a goal. It can make your defense uncomfortable. So it's added pressure on Sam Johnston. And it really depends on how he reacts to it. Look, Aaron Ramsdale, he had a mistake against Fulham, literally, on the weekend. And now we're going to see. There's talks about whether Raya plays or Ramsdale plays. And I'm pretty sure that will play in Ramsdale's mind as well. And that's going to be the case with Palace. If there's a mistake by Johnston, there's going to be conversation straight away, and rightly so, about whether Henderson or Johnston should be playing. There's no way we can keep both of them happy. Both are first-choice goalkeepers. Can only see Johnston being moved on this window or in January. Yeah, he was linked with Wolves, funny enough, the other day, but I don't really see us selling him at this point because it'll make no sense. I mean, we do need a number 2. And if you get rid of Johnson, then you're in the same position. Lewis says, doesn't Johnson have a release clause? Imagine if that got activated by another club and Remy Matthews was at number 1. I don't think that will happen because Dean Henderson is literally joining Palace. It hasn't been announced here, but according to reports, he's completed his medical. But yeah, I've heard about that in the past as well. I don't know how true it is with Sam Johnson's release clause, but if he does have one, maybe Dougie knows that, and it might be time to move on. But look, people, let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below with Sam Johnston versus Dean Henderson. How do you see this new signing? £20 million reportedly. We'll find out tomorrow if that is the case, on a backup on potential number 1 goalkeeper. Now, let's move on to the second bit of news today, and that is on Roy Hodgson. And he's been speaking to The Athletic, and this is coming from Matt Woosnam from The Athletic as well. And he said the following. He says that Palace squad is 3 top first-team players lighter than it should be. So Hodgson is saying that we need 3 more players. Now, straight away, I can have a guess on what those positions should be. And it's the positions that we've been talking about literally all summer. I think we need a striker, a winger, and potentially another fullback. And now I don't know what the third position Roy is hinting at, but he's saying that we need 3 other additions. Now, Roy's been speaking about transfers for a while now. He's been, he said 2, I think last week. He's saying 3 now. And he is right. And I'll be honest, look, the window ain't shut yet, so there's no point of us crying or complaining about it. But we're approaching, the last, Friday, that's it. We're on Monday, Friday, that's it. 11 p.m. on Friday. We can't sign any other players. So Roy wants 3 players, but realistically, so today's done. Monday's done. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 4 days to sign 3 players. Now, this might be an exciting transfer deadline day show, but I'd rather in the next few days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Thursday, sign another player on top of Dean Henderson, because we're adding a lot of pressure to get things done. And the reason why I'm saying that is a nice segue to the next bit of news that came out today, which is on Iheanacho, which we've been talking about, that Palace have been linked with. He's been the main striker as of last week or the week before that Palace have been linked with. Now, there's reports, according to the Football Insider, and I think TalkSport have reported as well, Wolves now want to sign Iheanacho and could have an edge in the race. Apparently, according to TalkSport, Leicester want £20 million for Iheanacho. Now, Iheanacho, a player that we've been chasing for a while. Now, let's say we don't have the funds anymore. If Leicester do want £20 million, what happens next? Because I've seen Che Adams, Iheanacho. Does that mean we're going to prioritize Che Adams? But with Iheanacho, I'll be honest, we've been delaying it for a while. We have been delaying it for a while. We've seen the rumors. If we do actually want the player, I don't know why we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We've basically invited Wolves to the table, and they need a striker as well. They're going to get the funds if Nunes leaves to go Man City for reported £60 million. So £20 million for them shouldn't be a problem. And if it ain't Iheanacho, who is it going to be? And literally, Rubber Band Man says, please, not Che. So when it comes to Che Adams, I'll be honest, I do think he fits into what Dougie wants from a striker based on all the links that we've had. But I mean, Che Adams as a second option, potentially, I guess we can fall into that. But we need to do deals before Friday. If Wolves are on the table now, we need to act serious. If we're serious about getting Iheanacho, we need to go up to Leicester and say, what's the price? This is what we're offering Max. Are you going to take it? And if they don't, then we need to look at other targets, because we cannot leave this window without signing another striker. I know Mateta has to leave. Well, you can make that debate, but it'll make sense for Mateta to leave and for us to bring another striker. But even if he's staying at the club, the quality that we have right now, the quality that we've been talking about at the end of last season, I mean, we've had months to find a striker. We have to be doing it before Friday. Now, if it's not Iheanacho, I know it might sound weird to others, but you have to get Che Adams. You have to get someone. There's no way. It will be piss poor if we go in. I know we kept Elise, and that was fantastic, but the Elise thing is now done. It's now time for us to actually improve the squad. The manager's been saying that as well. He's been saying free signings. He's been talking about needing players. Also, he has said that he's optimistic after the Brentford game that we will sign players, which, I mean, come deadline day, we'll maybe find a few deals here and there, but there's no ifs and buts. A striker needs to be done. With other positions, you can have that debate. Right back or left back. Maybe the club don't prioritize it now. Or winger, even though we do need another winger as well. But with striker is non-negotiable. It is non-negotiable. If we don't sign another striker in this window, then that is a failure, because we've had months. We've absolutely had months to go and plan for this. We have spent money elsewhere. I mean, we're spending literally, according to reports, £15 million on a goalkeeper. So we have had a bit of money. And if we prioritize in other positions and not bringing in a striker, that would be piss poor. But then again, I'm not going to cry right now, because we've got till Friday, 11 p.m. But something needs to be done sooner rather than later, especially if Wolves are knocking on the door of one of our main targets. Let's go through some of the comments. Are we signing Hazard? No, I don't think we are. But literally, Benjamin, I 100% agree. Sign a striker, please. Seriously, says Tim, that sucks. The market is just broken. I can't see spending £20 million on Iheanacho unless there's a lot of add-ons and low initial fee. He's got 1 year left on his deal. So I think TalkSport reported that today, not that long ago, on their Twitter account, that Leicester want £20 million. Exactly. Well, 3 hours ago, literally, Leicester value Iheanacho at £20 million. Of course, Leicester's not going to say we want 10 or £50 million for Iheanacho. They want the most amount of money as possible. But Wolves are now considering the move as well. And that was at 7 o'clock UK time, so about 3 hours ago. Can't see Iheanacho at Wolves. That team is basically Team Spain and Portugal. Maybe he had a bit of spice to that team. You never know. Red, we could go with Adams. We could go Adams with Raksaki potentially going out alone the other way. I haven't seen that, but maybe that could be the case. But I don't think Palace wants to learn at Raksaki. Otherwise, it would have went by now. Is it about planning? I guess so. But how much does planning help if the market is broken? Well, I mean, if we're spending £15 million on a goalkeeper and we don't have a striker, which we know we need a striker, then it's not even a case of planning. It's about prioritizing the position that you think is important. I think it would be very poor for us not to get a striker if we're spending that much on a goalkeeper. That's how I just see it. We're so thin at winger. If Ayew gets hurt, we're screwed. Exactly. Ayew's been fantastic to the start of the season. I know a lot of people get onto him, but he's had 2 assists now. He's been electric in terms of defensive duties as well as attacking. But that's the thing, like, we're so thin as it is right now. We need Elise back, France back, and yeah, that's why we need another winger and a striker. But striker it needs to happen. It really needs to happen. Monty saying he won't come to Palace. Interesting. We need a striker, so just pay the money. Look, everyone says we need a striker, but we got a few more days. We got a few more days to solve this, people. But if we don't solve this, I'll be very, very upset because literally there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not getting it done. But look, let's move on to the final bit of news today, and that is a bit of a positive news, and that's on Check Decore. According to reports, it is expected that Decore will remain a Crystal Palace player beyond the closing of the window on Friday. Check Decore is valued at an excess of £80 million by Palace, and there's been no offers made by Liverpool. So Check Decore, not major surprise there, because it seems like our value has scared Liverpool away ever since they were interested, because as the report suggests, there's been no bids made by Liverpool. So far, it's just been inquiries, but seem like Decore is staying, people. So that should be good. Decore and Lerma, they've been fantastic together in terms of the midfield duo. I think as they grow and play more games, they will naturally improve as well. It's going to be a very exciting midfield with Decore, Lerma, and Eze. But look, Palace did not want to sell him. If you're asking for £80 million, I just don't see clubs paying that. I know that's how much we value him, but I just don't see realistically us getting any funds for £80 million. Maybe 50 million. Liverpool could have done the deal. But yeah, that's good. That's good from Palace. We basically said no to Decore. And I'll be honest, I said this last week as well. I really don't see any major players leaving at this point. I didn't want to mention it, but there's also reports about Guéhi to Arsenal. But I just don't, I'll be honest, I just don't believe it. I just don't see Palace selling Guéhi, I mean, few days before the window shuts. It just doesn't make any sense. And I also don't see Arsenal getting Guéhi as a cover to Timber, because Guéhi is not a cover-esque player. He should be a starter. So, look, I just don't see that happening. But yeah, look, it seemed like so far, the only player that we've lost, which is a positive, ending the show, is Wilf. We match keep Elise. Eze seemed like he's staying. Decore is staying. Guéhi, Anderson. But as Roy has said, we need additions to the squad. If we want to improve, we need additions to the squad. But yeah, how you not talking about Sinistera? Apparently, we're in negotiations to sign him on loan with an option to buy. Yeah, I saw that as well earlier on today. I just saw one thing. I just saw literally one thing about it. And yeah, if there's any truth to it, we'll probably find out more about it tomorrow. It came out late night today. But yeah, that'll be a great coup. If we get Sinistera and another forward, that'll be fine. But it's about the forward. Who's the forward that we're going to bring? We won't let any of the top players go now. Agree, Ryan. We should have had 30 million coming into the window and 17 million out on France so far. There's ought to be some money available. Who knows how much though? And I don't know if you've considered the £15 million on Dean Henderson. But yeah, we don't know how much money that we have. But if that is true, then basically we have no money left if we're getting Dean Henderson. If all the reports are true about Henderson being £15 million, about £30 million budget. Adam saying we always get so close to having an amazing starting 11, but never quite get there. We are left winger, striker, and a right back from decent 11. 100% agree. Guéhi only makes sense for Arsenal if Gabriel goes to Saudi. Exactly. And they said that they're not selling Gabriel to Saudi, so I just don't see Guéhi happen, really. Should we try a poach for better from Udinese? Incredibly tall, strong, and fast striker. I just don't see us spending what Everton's spending about nearly £30 million on him. I just don't see us doing that. Right now, we're talking about Iheanacho being £20 million and whether he fits our budget as it is. And that's the debate. I just don't see us spending £30 million, especially after the Dean Henderson signing as well. But look, Sinistera from Leeds, that's come out today. I know a few people have been mentioning it. I guess tomorrow we'll find out more if there's any truth to it. But look, it seemed like in this week, Roy wants players, 3 players. We're getting a goalkeeper, but still, a striker and a winger needs to be the bare minimum. Decore is staying, Elise is staying, so the core is there. But if we want to have a decent season, we need to improve on these positions that we've known about for months. We've known about these positions. You can even have the argument last year, even if Wilf was to stay, we needed another winger because we are lacking in quality in that area. So whether the club does it or not, I guess time will find out. But look, that's it. That's it from me today for Palace News, people. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button. Let's get over 100 likes and subscribe. We are close to 4,000. We're creeping towards it. But yeah, keep safe, people. We'll be back throughout the week for live Palace News updates. But until then, up the Palace.